This is Business Talk, your business, your success. Sponsored by Action Coach Columbus. The opinions expressed are those of the participants and may not be the views of the staff, advertisers, and owners of the station. Advice given is not intended to replace that of your business advisor. Now, let's get down to talking about your business, your success. This is Business Talk.
Oh, hi, Peg.
Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon, and Happy New Year to everyone.
Yes, it's the start of a wonderful new year.
And today's show, what we decided is because it's the start of a new beginning, you know what, wipe the slate clean, we all get to start fresh.
It's not too late to start fresh for 19?
It's not too late, no matter how old you are. We have a new process we want to describe to you. Now, we've done shows like this in the past, but there is a book called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, and we're going to go through that.
Hal Elrod.
And it's funny because the reason we picked this one book is because it's what you and I have been teaching for the last 10 years.
This is just reinforce some things that we've already developed as habits for the most part anyway.
Correct.
Okay, great.
So go, okay, but before,
good.
So again, Pete and I are business coaches. We've been coaching for the last 13 years. Oh my gosh, it's a new year.
Yeah.
So I started in 2006, and you started in 2004.
Something like that. Yes, I believe it is.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
It'll be 15 years this
When
year.
I say 2006, like you've got a year over me because it was like
a year and change.
Yeah, so I guess this is year 13 for me. Yeah. And it's year 14-ish for you.
Yeah, but our business has been going on for 13 years.
Yes,
right.
Michelle and Pete and I and Judd and Sarah, all part of our team.
Elizabeth.
And
Yes.
Elizabeth, our marketing person. Yes,
Right,
how could I ever forget?
Even though she's from Michigan.
And Jeep, our
marketing master.
Jeep and Mike,
Yes.
marketing masters. So, okay, before we get into the Miracle Morning, we want to talk a little bit about good news.
Yeah,
all
good
around
news.
the
So
world.
I think this is good news because we're all a year older, right? And this is a picture of a lady. See Ellen? That's our esteemed producer, Ellen.
Love
Say hi,
Ellen.
Ellen.
Hi, Ellen.
She is deadlifting 185 pounds, and she's got a group of weightlifters known as the Golden Girls, and she had some arthritis problems and knee problems and torn meniscus and blah blah blah, and she started lifting weights. I just think it's really cool. And this lady, she's deadlifting 185 pounds 5 times.
Well, and we just have to echo this because Pete and I guess Mark Daniels, our good friend, came to us a year ago and did a presentation he had heard about the importance of lifting weights. Mm-hmm. And he said, hey, guys, we're working out, but we were doing a lot of cardio and not much weightlifting. We were doing movements, but not as much weight. We were doing some weight. And we integrated weightlifting into our workout as a priority.
Sure.
Based on his findings. And it has been wonderful.
It makes you feel good.
It does.
It really does.
Well,
yeah.
and to your point, it's going to make you better. So, again, if we're looking at the new year and what we can do to better ourselves, like why not do this?
Right. And there was an article a couple of weeks ago about this guy who's about the same age, who's running like a lot. And he swears it's better for him than not doing anything.
Right.
So,
and we quit running because of the pounding on my body.
It's tough on your knees and your back.
We do
it
walk.
Can be.
And so it's all good. So anyway, that's going to be, we're going to get to that in Miracle Morning.
We're going to get to that. So good news. Retail sales end the season on a high note. U.S. retailers wrapped up one of the strongest holiday seasons of years with shoppers crowding stores for last-minute gifts and deliveries. Retail sales were 5.2% over the season.
Oh, my.
Excluding automobiles, 5%. That's a lot.
That is that's outstanding.
Yeah, it's billions of dollars. I mean, it's a lot of money in this country.
Although we see 2019 may slow down a bit, it's still going to do well. The predictions
slow down from over 3% growth, maybe to 2.5% or something like that. So it'll still be growth. And online sales are continuing to grow faster than regular retail sales, rising 18% during the same time, and accounting for 13% of total sales, which is about it now. Online sales during that period about $110 billion. That's a lot of money. It's hard.
That is a lot of money.
It's hard to picture.
That's
Consumer
outstanding.
confidence is good. Partial government shutdown hasn't hurt consumer confidence. This is another article about the same thing. It's retail sales are up. And then they were talking about it. This is for our business owners out there. There's a big article, and we're not going to go into a lot of the detail.
From where?
It's from the Wall Street Journal. It says some stores catch on online lifeline. Retailers that evolved proved the fittest while time ran out on those that didn't adapt. So some stores that have embraced selling online, and some of even the big grocery chains like Kroger, who are allowing you to get online and order your stuff and stop by and pick it up.
Giant Eagle does the same
those
thing.
kind of things.
Right.
They're doing great, and some stores that haven't changed they're dying.
Well, in both Kroger and Giant Eagle, one thing they do that I love, and I want to talk about this for a minute while you're listening, is when you go in, they have another innovation and in fact, I used this last week, where you go in the store and you can get one of those automatic, where you check yourself out as you go.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're scanning it and bagging it. It is a wonderful innovation, and I just want to say I love
Have you done it?
I have. I
Okay.
just did it last week.
Okay.
And one of the things, and it was amazing because it was so busy, and I passed all the lines. I had it done. It was just easy. It was such an ease. And so, one of the things that we've asked our customers, our clients to do is something similar to what Kroger and Giant Eagle did is, when was the last day you had an innovation day? So we call it FedEx Day. So when it absolutely has to be there overnight, right? So you take your managers and you have them each take a day, one day. And I'm thinking it's the new year. Why not have them? And in that day, they have to figure out something innovative in their department.
Uh-huh.
Then the next day, they all get together for a couple hours, and each person gets up and presents their idea, their innovative idea.
Talk about how you might act on it, how you could actually implement it.
Because what you're saying there, Pete, is a lot of times we fall asleep in the wheel because we get comfortable with where we are. Well, innovation should be a cornerstone of every company in order to make them relevant and to continue to improve and constant improvement. So what is your strategy to not only make sure you're executing it, but to make sure that everybody understands it's a priority?
Well, I'm thinking about a budget, and for example, Walmart, a huge retailer, right? They've got 4,600 U.S. stores. But they took a bit of their profit and plowed it into online sales, and it's growing. So what are you doing to invest in things that you need to invest in for the long term for your own company? And this is the time to do it in the first part of January, is what are we doing with our marketing budget? What are we doing with our R&D budget or innovation? How are we developing our company that is going to thrive in 10 years?
Exactly.
What are we doing?
To
the
stay
ones
relevant.
that haven't done it are not doing well.
And does it say in that article anything about what obviously, I love what Kroger and Giant Eagle have done.
Target is another one. Kohl's has done really well. It's funny. I mean, Kohl's, they do great.
And
They're doing great.
Now, Pete and I just talked about Kohl's on the way in. I love Kohl's. What a great store.
Kohl's moved quickly to ramp up its athletic offerings as the athletic leisure trend took off. So they jumped on it. Active apparel now accounts for 1/5 of the sales in the retailer. 1/5. The category grew 10% in the last quarter.
They have great choices. I was just there.
They've been taking risks by partnering with Amazon. Shoppers can return items purchased on Amazon at roughly 100 Kohl's stores. I didn't know that. So if you buy something on Amazon, you can take it back to Kohl's.
Oh, that's fantastic.
To return it. So they're figuring out some innovative ways.
Love the innovation.
You wouldn't think about.
Okay, so I want to make that homework for our listeners. As you're listening to this, make sure, what are you doing for innovation? And what are you doing strategically, proactively to get the message out to your team that we should be doing something innovative, and what that would be? And it was funny because if I look back, before I was a coach, I did work at radio stations, and all my job was innovation. I was the innovation person. So my job was how do we make
non-traditional revenue.
Yes,
right?
Non-traditional revenue,
right.
Meaning how are we going to get money in that we've never done before? And I mean, that's commitment right there, to have a person in charge of that. Isn't that a neat idea?
The last thing I have before the break here is we're talking about this good news, but there's an article here, and this is again out of the Wall Street Journal, but it was on the editorial page. And this gentleman wrote a book called The Rational Optimist, and most recently, The Evolution of Everything, How New Ideas Emerge. And he says the world is in better shape than most people think, but we're inclined to focus on bad news. We're more inclined to focus on bad news than good. Psychology explains why.
Okay.
Like we naturally will focus on bad news.
Which we've talked about. Does it say what percent? Because, Pete, you read an article the other day that said it was like 70 to 75% of our natural thoughts are negative.
Yeah, it doesn't say that, but it just says, it asks some questions about, has the percentage of the world population that lives in extreme poverty almost doubled, almost cut in half, or stayed the same over the last 20 years? What do you think?
Cut in half.
Okay. Only 5% of 1,000 Americans got the answer right. Extreme poverty has been cut almost in half.
Oh, I got it right.
In the last 20 years. Yeah.
Woohoo!
Which is amazing. And this is.
So I'm only part of the 5%. Right? Only 5% got it right?
Yeah, 5% out of 1,000 people. So pretty good sized sample.
But that shows how their thinking is.
Yeah, they're thinking negatively. Studies consistently find that people in developed societies tend to be pessimistic about their country and the world, but optimistic about their own lives. By contrast, the gradual reduction in poverty around the world rarely makes a sudden splash. Nobody talks about it. Bad news is more sudden than good news, which is usually gradual. So the improvement in our standard of living is gradual, so we don't notice it, don't even think about it.
Right.
Like our phones. I mean, these things can do things that
in just
10 years ago would be amazing.
10 years, it was a different world for us. And look at how much we have now. Well, that's good. So when we return, we're going to dive into the Miracle Morning and strategies that we want you to implement to improve your 2019.
Perfect.
Could your business use some help? Call 614-306-7922 to schedule your coaching session. 614-306-7922. Now, here's more business talk.
Wait, so going back to the weightlifting, guys, as we started the show, we talked about this weightlifting, this gal that started lifting weights, and she was how old?
She is 76 years old, and she turns heads in the gym when she deadlifts 185 pounds 5 times in a row.
Well, if I think about it,
there's a picture of her here.
Pete and I,
she's gray.
Pete, you and I have vending machines that we own at different car dealerships.
Yes,
right. And my father fills them, and sometimes we'll help him, and it is every bit of it's physical. So you can imagine lifting all this pop and all of this Gatorade and all of these big containers filled with product. And how old is he? 78.
Yeah, I think he is.
He's 78. Yeah. And he's doing that, and I'm like, this is the best thing he could do. It's like lifting weights every day. I mean, he's strong. I mean, he's very strong.
Well, this lady, she can bench press 77 pounds and do an 82-pound squat. I think that's good. She retired from her job as a nurse anesthetist in 2010 and considers weight training her new job.
For people to take note.
It relieved her knee pain. She said she swears it strengthened my muscles, my back muscles, and protects me from injury and help my knee.
It's what Dr. Carey, our chiropractor, said.
He's like real cautious about the weightlifting things. Is don't do that.
No,
certain things.
No, he said to lift weights because he wants our muscles to get stronger to prevent pulled things. So he wants us, and so he's the reason that we went and got a trainer to start lifting weights, because he said the reason that you have back pain is you're not strong enough.
There were just certain things he didn't like. He wasn't a fan. He's not a fan of the kettlebell swing.
No, he's not a fan of the kettlebell.
Or maybe bowling.
Yeah, no. Now that wouldn't be lifting weights. He's like, maybe after I lift my weights, then I can create some twists and things.
Right.
But he wanted us to lift weights, and that's what made us make our core stronger.
Right.
So
strengthen your core. It's good for your back, right?
Right. Yes. Get muscles. He said your muscles aren't strong enough to protect your back.
Yeah. So shoot and pull doesn't do it, Ellen.
And bowling, I wouldn't say don't say that's my weightlifting.
That's not exercise. Right?
No. Well, it could be, but I'm just saying you should probably lift weights, not just a bowling ball, and say that's my weightlifting.
Because you don't do it with both hands.
No, it's
the other hand has a beer.
Yeah. So Pete, let's get into Miracle Morning. I want to tell you a story. Let's tell you guys a story.
All right, story time. Everybody, sit down.
So we're sitting down. You're driving, and I want to tell you what happened. So first of all, why are we talking about Miracle Morning? And I need to give kudos to John. John, our client, has JMC Home, and that is in New Jersey. He runs a wonderful business. I would have to look it up where he is in New Jersey.
Cool.
So he's in New Jersey, and he is one of our most successful clients. And I tell him this every day. He's a pleasure to talk to. And what makes a successful client? When we talk and you execute.
Yeah,
and you want to learn.
Simple,
I mean, you execute and you learn.
Right.
And he's probably, out of all of our clients, he's the number one client that learns the most.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Without a doubt. And I tell him this. I said, you know what? Pete and I learn quite a bit.
Yeah.
He actually is bringing books to us.
Wow.
So he's the reason that we're talking about this.
Did he bring this book to you?
It's because of John. So this show is dedicated to John. So,
thank you, John.
So John,
if you need a home remodeled in New Jersey.
Yes, he's the man to go to.
Now we have another client in New Jersey in Mahwah, Northern
Oh, that's
New
why
Jersey.
you're asking.
Yeah,
I'd have to look up. Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, one of the things is I noticed a difference in John. He accelerated in his execution. Now, keep in mind, he was already an executor. Right. Well, I just started seeing a huge difference from like over I want to say a period of a month. So as a coach, I asked John, my goodness, what's going on? And he talked about the book, The Miracle Morning, which he'd already told me about, but he talked about the impact in his life. And so, of course, I have to read it as well. And as I'm reading it, Pete, I have to be honest. And it's by Hal Elrod, The Not So Obvious Secret Guarantee to Transform Your Life Before 8 a.m.
Excellent.
And as I'm reading it, I'm starting to get a little angry. Do you know why?
Why? Because we do all this stuff.
Because we do all this stuff. And I got angry in a good way, but also in a bad way. Because as I'm reading it, and if you listen to some of our shows in the past, we talk about the 5 disciplines of being positive. Pete and I do.
Exercise.
So
reading.
Go ahead and tell. Exercise, reading.
Gratitude. Affirmations. Or I am statements.
And meditation. So you and I are sitting here talking to people. So when you have us talk to our teams, what we do is we talk about this. And then we say, okay, pick one. And then you do it over a period of time, and the goal is to do all 5.
Execute it.
And we say do all 5.
Because we need to create habits. It needs to be habits so that you continue.
It's
right. Lasting change is what we want.
Right. So as I'm reading this book, I'm like, well, he stole our idea because this is something we created. Well, obviously he didn't steal it. Right. But what he did is he took a twist on it. I really like what he did with it. Is he took a twist and he said, now you're going to do it in the morning before you start your day. Every morning. Well, and we're going to talk about that. Should you do it every morning or not? And what is exactly you're going to do? And anyway, so John started doing this. Okay. And as he was doing this, I saw a significant difference in his performance. And I said, okay, wait a minute. So then I started doing it, which you and I are already doing it. Right. I added in more of a couple more of the rituals outside of that. And of course, we're a proponent of it. And then we're going to have every one of our clients do this.
Right.
This is going to be one of our 2019 requirements. We want you to do the Miracle Morning. And so, or shall I say suggestions? So
No, it's required.
It's required. I like that. Okay. So what we want to do is go through some of first of all, you can always order the book online. It's an easy book. It's on audio.
Hal Elrod.
Elrod. In fact, you know what we'll do is...
what will we do?
I'm going to have Hal... we'll interview Hal. I'll contact him and interview him because this is... we'll have a show with him on it. He's just his story
Let's bring him in here.
His story is phenomenal. He talks about getting into a car wreck. He almost dies.
Okay.
He almost goes broke. I mean, he has story after story of challenges he's overcome. But here's one of the stories. I want to read this to you. Okay. I read it to my girls, Allie and Lauren, and I just thought it was really good. So basically, one of the things we always say is, and this came from John Assaraf's book, The Answer, is where you are in your life is where you believe you should be. Right? Where you are is where you believe you should be, which is basically what he's saying. Wherever you're in your life right now, keep in mind it's temporary, but it's where you're supposed to be because of the way you think and what you've done.
Everything you've done in the past, yeah.
So I like this. He says, so we're all in the process of writing our life story, and no good story is without a hero or a heroine overcoming their fair share of challenges. In fact, the biggest challenges, the better the story is. So if you think of every story that's brought up, right, it has a challenge that you overcame.
Right.
So there's no restrictions and no limits to your story. So what do you want your story to say, and how are you going to build it? In other words, you have control over what you want to do, right? So what is it you decide, and how do you want it to be? And I really like that.
And this is Peg and Pete with Business Talk. We're talking about a book called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod.
Yes, and this is one thing also I want to talk about. Just I want to give some background as to why we want to do something like this. So he talked about your level of success. Like if you read some quotes, and I love this one. It's something I'm saying every morning. Your level of success will rarely exceed your level of personal development, because success is something you attract by the person you become. So think of what Darren Hardy said. Remember what he said about investment?
You mean about spending 10% of your time or your money or on your own development?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so are you doing that? Because that's how success...
Particularly if you're a business owner.
Right.
You need to be developing all the time, because we just went through that big list of very famous and household name retailers, some that developed and some that didn't.
Exactly.
We've got to do it in our businesses and ourselves every day.
Every day.
Right?
Every day. And it needs to be a priority.
Right.
And
it's critical. You're the only one that can do it. That's the other part, right?
Well, exactly. And it's got to be you first. It's like the oxygen mask. You always say that in our presentations,
Oh, yeah.
Pete.
If you get on an airline and you're traveling with a small child, what do they tell you to do? You, the parent, need to put your own mask on first. You're the only one that can do it.
Exactly.
And before you do that, unless you do that, you can't take care of others.
And so
it's the same with all your employees and everybody that depends on you. You've got to be the one that takes care of yourself. And it's not being selfish at all. It's really thinking about them if you take care of yourself.
Well, you always say self-care. I always like
self-care, man.
Self-care.
Yeah, right.
So here's a statistic that's going to blow you away. I love this.
All right, I'm sitting down.
Okay, sitting down. According to the Social Security Administration, if you take any 100 people at the start of their working careers and follow them for the next 40 years until they reach retirement age, here's the outcome. So this is...
I think you told me this before.
Yes,
this is good stuff.
This is good. Only one will be wealthy, and I don't know how wealthy is defined, but one will be wealthy,
okay.
And 4 will be financially secure.
4 others. So there'll be 5 that are either wealthy or financially secure.
5 will continue working, not because they want to, but because they have to. 36 will be dead, and 54 will be broke and dependent on friends, family, relatives, and the government to take care of them.
54?
Yes.
Out of 100?
Right.
Holy cow.
So monetarily speaking, that's only 5% of people will be successful in creating a life of freedom, and 95% will continue to struggle their entire lives. Statistically.
Oh, my. Okay.
So that's why we're here. Peg and Pete are business coaches helping you to gain the strategies and the freedoms to create better habits in order to be part of that 5%.
Wow.
So it was interesting. I want to tell you. So Allie is 18. Well, I say 18. She's 17. And Lauren is 14. And they're both in school. They're doing well. And, you know, like any other student, they put a lot of pressure on themselves to do very, very well.
Right.
And they get discouraged if they don't get an A, or they get upset with themselves. And I sat them both down and I said, I want you to look at this book. And I said, this is what I teach. And I love this book, Pete, because Hal is talking the same language as you and I. It's very aligned with what we say. That's why we're recommending it. If we wrote a book, this would be the book.
Right.
And I said, this is the secret, guys. If you read any book, and I asked them both to read it, I said, I want you to know that this is the secret to success. It's the discipline of the healthy habits that you're going to have in order to be happy.
Well, it's the small things that you do every day that will make your break, right?
Exactly.
And the other thing I like in here is he talks about challenges. Challenges are actually good, right? It's what we do with them, how we handle them, how we respond to them.
And it's okay to fail. It's okay to be yelled at. It's okay to do that. And so as we're looking at the new year, I want you to consider this, that it's time for you to take control of your own life. It's time for you to decide, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to create a habit. And when we return, we're going to talk about what are some of the things that we want you to do, and how is it that you can create a habit in order to make sure you get it done so that you can have a change and a significant difference in what you're doing every day.
Okay.
To learn more about today's topic, call 614-306-7922. Now, back to more business talk.
All right, so welcome back, and we are talking about The Miracle Morning, a book called by Hal Elrod. You can get him on the phone, not on the phone, on the website, or just look up his book and see what you think. But we're going to go. This show is all about how we can get you to be. We're going to say the 5%. The 5% right before the break we talked about.
Why not?
Of being there.
It's a choice.
Now we're going to talk about the strategies, but beforehand, why do we allow mediocrity into our life? And so one of the most crippling causes of mediocrity in our life is a condition like he calls rearview mirror syndrome. It's our subconscious minds are equipped with a self-limiting rearview mirror through which we continuously relive and recreate our past. We mistakenly believe that who we were is who we are. and you limit our true potential. And we talk about that every day.
So get rid of the rearview mirror. Okay, so one of my favorite movie scenes, now you'll never remember this, but you never know. Around the World in 100 Days, or you remember there was a stupid movie and they had like an automobile race and
yes,
whatever.
I love that show.
How do you go around the world when there's water everywhere?
Yeah.
Anyway, they did it, But the Italian guy looked in his rearview mirror and ripped it off and threw it out, littering, but he did it anyway. It was cool. And he said, "Oh, what's it behind me? Is it not important?" And it always stuck with me. Right? He ripped the thing off and threw it out.
So that you're dead on. So as we're coaching, Pete, don't you think that a lot of the times as we're coaching that what we see is our own self-limiting beliefs?
I was with a client just a few days ago, and she runs this very successful business. And we had, together this year, had a human resources challenge. So we had a person that was causing disturbances, and they have left the company. We hired a new person, and that person didn't work out, and they also left the company. And we need one more person.
Right.
But right now, the staff is as happy as they've been in years. And she was focusing the other day on, boy, it was a problem. We had this, this issue happen, and this person left, and it just didn't work out. And I thought, actually, we're in better shape today than we were 6 months ago. All we need is one more great person. And the staff is thrilled with what's going on, right? So, it's progress. Challenging at the time, of course. But we're pointed in a great direction.
Well, you just said something really interesting that talks about what we do as human beings. And you said at the beginning with the good news, where we tend to look at the negative. So one of the things we do as human beings is we look at our gap. We constantly are looking at our gap. In other words, where we want to be and where we are. But we don't look back to where we have accomplished it a lot. Now, the rearview mirror I'd like to use in the sense of look at how far we've come and you can keep going.
Yes.
Not a limiting belief rearview mirror.
So I've got this article back out about the pessimism reflex, and this is a guy named Mr. Ridley who's written a couple of books, and he's talking about people think in relative, not absolute terms. What matters is how well you're doing relative to other people, because that's what determines success in the competitive world. Being told that others are doing well is therefore a form of bad news. Can be.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
It's the way we take it.
Yep.
And so this gap, and Hal talks about this in his book, it's good, but it's also bad because we start beating ourselves up over the gap. Oh, I'm not there. I'm not doing enough.
Oh, yeah.
And you get frustrated, like this business owner you just talked about.
Yeah.
So what we want to do is get away from, if you're looking in the rearview mirror and you're saying things like, no, I've never done anything like that before. I've never achieved it at that level. In fact, I've failed time and time again. Like that kind of thinking will stop us from succeeding.
What's behind me is not important.
I like that, Pete. That's excellent. So what we want to do is talk a little bit about what the process is. I want to get into the process of the Miracle Morning.
Great.
Now, what Hal suggests, as you and I have, is you do it in the morning. Why do you think? What are all the reasons we would do it in the morning?
Well, for example, for me, exercising in the morning is great because once you get into your workday and you start doing things, things can get away from you, and you may skip it.
Right. That's exactly
you
why.
may get engaged in something else, and all of a sudden, bam, it's 8 o'clock at night, and you got to go to sleep. Or whatever.
Exactly.
Your day's gone.
Exactly.
Get it done, right? It's
Get
like
it
making
done.
your bed.
Exactly.
Make your bed right away.
And the impact that it has on you throughout the day. So you get the advantage of the morning exercises that we're going to tell you, and you get to have it all day.
All day.
It's a mindset.
Well, it's a way to start your day. That's the other good thing.
And and I just want to talk about, so first of all, you've got to get over yourself. For you people who say I'm not a morning person, stop that. Stop telling yourself that, because you can become one. And here was some interesting things.
I did. I wasn't a morning person.
You weren't?
No. When I was a teenager, no. But, after a while, I started working in the chemical industry, and you had to be at the plant early. And after a few years, it's like, well, this is what you do. You get up early, work out a little bit, and you go to work.
Yeah.
And it's a habit, and I like it now.
Well, it's wonderful.
I drink coffee.
It's wonderful. But
it's fine.
Here's an interesting thing. Every time you hit the snooze button, you're in a state of resisting your day and your life. And and not waking up, and you're cheating your life, basically, and what you want. So it's negative energy if you're snoozing.
So no snooze for you.
Yes, stop the snoozing. I get to wake up. I get to go. It's a different way of thinking. So first of all, let's stop hitting the snooze. And so if you're just snoozing every day until the last possible moment you have to head off to work, show up for school, take care of your family, come home, you're zoning off. It says, where are you going to develop yourself into the person you need to create the level of health and wealth, happiness, success, freedom you truly want? We got to get started. So the goal is stop hitting the snooze button, okay? So we're going to stop hitting the snooze.
That's a habit we're going to stop.
We're going to stop.
Okay.
And so whether you get up at 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, all we want is you to have 1 hour for this process.
Okay.
Okay. And so I like this quote. He says, what I found was whether I got 9, 8, 7, 6, or 5, 4 hours of sleep, as long as I consciously decided before going to bed that I was getting the perfect amount of sleep, that the hours were getting to energize my body to feel wonderful in the morning, I consistently woke up feeling better. So I was taught the other day that said, if you're really tired, and I forget who said it to me, just keep telling yourself, I had the perfect amount of sleep. I'm great.
Oh, I do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm great.
It does work. If you tell yourself, you know what, it was enough.
So he says, how many hours of sleep do you really need? Well, you tell me. Now, if you really are struggling with falling or staying asleep, I mean, that's a sleep disorder. But really, you got to tell yourself, I'm getting enough. I'm getting enough sleep. So basically, there's 5 steps, and this is basically you know that you want to do is first the morning. You really want to make sure you do it in the morning, whatever your morning is. If you're working third shift, your morning is not going to be in the morning, but it's morning for you.
The start of your day, let's call it.
So make sure you put your alarm clock across the room first of all to make sure you don't hit the snooze. Right. Now, Pete, here was some interesting.
We had an article a couple weeks ago about that.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And so here was a couple things he said when you wake up to do, and I started doing it, and I like it. Well, one is brush your teeth right away. Make it the first thing you do, brush your teeth.
Yeah.
That's what he said to get you up and running.
Well, yeah, because your mouth, it tastes bad, right?
Yeah. It's so that, and then he also says, drink a full glass of water.
Oh, really?
I never do that.
No.
He says your body's dehydrated. Get going.
Oh, that does make sense, though.
So if you keep your alarm clock across, you get up and brush your teeth and drink a full glass of water and have your workout clothes laid out. That's the steps. That makes sense, right?
Okay. All right.
Is that logical to you?
Yeah.
It's
logical.
what basically.
Yeah. I mean, they're right in the drawer. I just take them out.
Well, so you have them. It's easy.
Yeah,
it's easy. Now, obviously, this is for people who may have challenges. If you don't have any challenges, do you need to do all of that? No, but I would still do the drink of water.
Drink of water. Okay, I'm adding that one. I like it.
Okay. So one of the things that, and again, this is like our 5 disciplines.
Right.
And so it's the same disciplines we just talked about before, but he calls them life savers. Isn't that cute? S.A.V.E.R.S. So that's how you're going to remember it, is what are my life savers
it's an acronym.
routine.
I got you.
Yeah, it's an acronym. Thank you.
Got it.
So A is for affirmations. Okay?
Yep.
We talk about affirmations.
Right.
We talk about this. I want you to...
I'm in great physical shape as I work out at least 4 times a week.
And then what else would be another one, a different category?
I'm a great dad when I keep in touch with the kids and do things with them that we both enjoy.
Do your business one.
I'm a successful business owner as I help people achieve their dreams.
Okay, so did you notice how Pete did affirmations in different areas of his life? We say the same thing, and so does Hal.
I'm a positive person as I look for the good in people and situations.
Isn't that great? And Pete, what you don't know is you're not reading from anything.
No.
It's ingrained in you.
We do it every day.
It's ingrained in you. And what we want you to do is to list your affirmations and do it every day.
Right.
Every day. And this is part of the morning ritual.
And it really takes seconds.
Well, let's get into that. And you know what? Maybe when we return, I'll keep you on the edge of your seat of the schedule of this. It's a 60-minute ritual that we want you to do of all of the disciplines.
Yeah.
And we'll go through a suggested how many minutes for each one.
This is good. And I'll throw in tidbits from this other article about the pessimism. This is interesting. This is the Pessimism Reflex article. As the world improves, people expand their definition of bad news.
That's interesting.
As our living standards get better and better, we go, oh, well, my coffee's not quite the right temperature, something.
We're going to stop that.
It becomes a huge problem.
We're going to stop that because we're going to get to choose to be successful, happy,
right.
and be absolutely wonderful for everyone and everyone around us.
Wow. All right.
Could your business use some help? Call 614-306-7922 to schedule your coaching session. 614-306-7922. Now, here's more Business Talk.
All right, we're talking today about The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. It's a little book that Peg has read through here, and we do a lot of these things already, and he's just put it in a really neat format.
Right. I mean, we you know what, you are listening to the show, and you're allowing us to be your coach. We coach hundreds, and we've coached thousands of people in the past,
right,
over the last 13 years. We tell you to do this. I really like how Hal put it
it's
together.
It's self-care. You're taking care of yourself.
Without a doubt. And so what we want you to do, right before we left, we talked about, before the break, join affirmations. And you said, okay, what is the schedule to this? So what we want you to do is wake up an hour earlier. And I'm going to give you the schedule, and then we'll go back through it.
All right.
We want 5 minutes of silence, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. Because remember, it's life savers. So we're going to talk about the silence. We want 5 minutes of affirmations. So what we just talked about before the break.
Oh, the S is savers. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So silence, yeah. So affirmations is what we just went through. That takes 5 minutes, if even.
Right.
I mean, we do it every day.
You can do it in the shower. You can do it while you're driving. You can do it while you're laying in bed.
I mean,
however,
put it in your.
It's very quick.
Do it aloud and put it in your notes section of your phone. Most people have a smartphone. Do it that way. And if you don't have a smartphone, then put it on a piece of paper or what's that called? Laminate it, and there you have it. Okay. Visualization is 5 minutes. 20 minutes for exercise, 5 minutes for gratitude journal or scribing. So that's the savers. So that's your 60 minutes. So we're not asking a whole lot.
Right.
And this will change your life.
Now, 7 days a week?
Okay, so we talk about that.
Yeah.
It's up to you. So some people, in fact, I was just talking to John last week about it and asked him how often he's doing it. And he goes, well, I was taking the weekends off
this
or vacation.
Client in Jersey.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. And he said, I started not doing it on the off days and I didn't feel as good. So I did it all days. It's up to you as an individual.
Sure.
I mean, start with Monday through Friday.
Right.
And then if you're going to see that you need to do it on the weekend, Pete, you're that way. You said, I don't like to get out of my ritual.
Right.
It's not good for you. You don't feel good.
Right.
And so you do it every day.
Every day. Right.
It's up to you. I mean, throughout the days, like
do what works for you.
Yeah, do what works for you. But let's just start with Monday through Friday. So we talked about the affirmations and described that a bit, right? And as you know, what was it, the Smalley, the Saturday Night Live person, Stuart Smalley, that character that said, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. That was the Al Franken's. It was Al Franken's character.
Okay.
Those were the affirmations that we're talking about, and the ones you just did. So we want you to create those. Now let's talk about visualization. Talk a little bit about what that means to you, Pete. Visualization and how we do it. Well,
it's just taking a look at, let's say that it's the beginning of 2019. It may be at the end of this year. This is what's going to be going on.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the year, I'm going to have taken these vacations, and I can picture what it was like.
There you go. So, I mean, it's really, and here's the thing that stops, is many people don't feel comfortable visualizing success, and sometimes they're even scared to succeed. And
feel guilty.
Exactly. Their resistance. It's Pete, literally, it says people feel guilty about it.
It could be baggage from
past
upbringing.
We want you to visualize you being happy and you playing with your grandkids or your children. We want you to picture yourself giving that great presentation that makes you really succeed and get through to people. The better the visualization and the more clear it is, the more likely it will be to happen, because you're setting your programming. It's like a computer. Your brain is a computer. You're programming it. So making sure you visualize correctly and doing that. And then, so I had skipped over the first savers is silence, and I said I'd get back to it. So remember, this is Peg and Pete with Business Talk. We're talking about the miracle morning, making sure you jumpstart your day. It's just as an acronym, and you'll remember it as Life Savers. The S is for silence. And he recommended about 5 minutes. For silence. And now silence is meditation.
It's like meditation.
It is meditation.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what he means by it is meditation or prayer or silence. We do meditation, and we do it a little longer than 5 minutes. So if you look at, and silence is really important because it gets your head right. So, I mean, it's about reflecting, deep breathing, just looking at what you have. Meditation, it gets your mind right. And we really are a proponent of silence or meditation because of the brain, the activity of your brain being so...
Calms you down.
It calms you down. You've been doing it again.
Yeah, because we, our phones and the radio, and we got all this input all the time. And it's just a constant stream of stuff, even your inbox and your email, right? You get hundreds of emails, and there's 5 that are really important. And there's a lot of them that are just junk. Right?
It's so true. And with all of these constant messages, we need time to be calm.
Yeah.
So we start with, so Lifesavers is the S's. Silence.
Affirmations,
A is, and V, visualization.
Visualization. Okay. So that's 3.
That's 3. So Lifesavers, what would be our next one? Exercise. Very good. That's the E. We've always said this. Now, I like it with his schedule of exercise. Again, going back to 60 minutes, he's saying at least do 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You don't have to make it. Right. I mean, you and I and
we do 30 to 50.
We do depending on the day. We do.
Right.
I always think we do about 45 minutes. Sometimes if we go to breakfast, we only do 30. But it's really about making sure you get your heart rate up, that you get your blood flowing, that you get moving. And again, it's endorphins. It's making sure that you are getting into a positive state of mind. And exercise will do that. So making sure that you're exercising. So that's the E. And again, this is the Miracle Morning. And so now, so we're at S is for silence, A is for affirmations. V is for visualization. Exercise.
Next.
What's R?
Reading.
There you go.
Okay.
Isn't this funny that it's exactly what we teach?
Yeah, it's the same stuff.
So reading, one of the things we want you to do is constantly improve. It was funny. Somebody was really sad. One of my friends is really sad. And I said, she's not really getting out of her own way. And I said, at the very least, read. I mean, if you're just sitting there, just read. And if you want to change and he's got reading at 20 minutes. And what will happen is our commitment is 30 minutes a day. What happens if you commit to 20 is you probably do 30. And here's a statistic I love. Let me find it.
Even if you just do 20, that's a lot if you keep at it.
If you keep at it.
Think about how much you'll have read, and it changes your mindset. It changes your outlook on everything.
That's exactly it. So here, look at it this way. If you quantify, if you just read 10 pages a day, that's it. You will average 3,650 pages a year, which equals approximately 18 200-page personal development books. 18. 18. If you're reading that, trust me, you're feeding yourself filled with healthy food. Healthy thoughts.
Right.
So reading is very, very important.
No more stinking thinking.
No more stinking thinking. And how many books are you going to commit to in 2019 to read? I mean, how many? And if you would like a reading list, give us a call.
Oh, yeah. 614-306-7922, and we can email it to you.
Or you can text that number as well, or you can go to our website, actioncoachcolumbus.com.
Okay.
And you can get, send us a message, and then we can get it back to you. And so, Pete, what are some of the best books you would suggest people reading?
Well, that one would be a good one.
Yes.
Law of Attraction is one of my favorites, talking about this kind of
Michael
thing.
Lozier.
Whatever you put your attention, energy, and focus on, you're going to get more
Michael
of.
Lozier.
And it's a small paperback. It's an awesome book, and he's a great gentleman. Fantastic
absolutely
guy.
great.
He's coached us before.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen him speak a lot, so that's one of my personal favorites.
I also like the book, the one where he goes back in time and he's...
The Traveler's Gift?
Traveler's Gift, thank you. That is a wonderful book.
I'm trying to think of the author's name. It's not John Asser.
Andrew.
That's the answer.
Andrew. It is Andrew.
Okay.
But
that's The Traveler's Gift is the name of the book.
Traveler's
Gift. You can
Gift.
find it.
I mean, that's one of the top
on
books.
Amazon or Barnes & Noble, you'll find it.
Oh, I love it. And what are some other books? So a leadership book, what would you recommend?
5 Levels of Leadership.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Also, People Smart in Business.
Oh, that's about the use of the DISC behavior profile with developing better relationships with everybody, not just business-wise. It's everybody.
Oh, I love it.
Right?
I love it. And then the Traveler's Gift author is Andy Andrews. And so,
Andy Andrews.
Andy Andrews, absolutely. And so looking at, and what I would do is pick your first couple books and then go from there.
But ask for the reading list. We'll send it to you. And it's by category. It's in there about leadership and management and time management and all kinds of things.
Well, it's interesting.
We'll send you a copy.
Because Hal says he would share his reading list with you, so I went online and looked at his, and I liked how he did it. Is he really broke it down into different categories, different than you and I do. But our reading list is better, so that's why I'm having you email us.
Of course it is.
It's a little more deep, and it has a little more choices, and I think that we're deep. And then the last, so as we're looking at Miracle Morning and talking about how you can change your life to be in the top 5%, starting with this, the last S is for scribing, which he laughs because he says scribing is actually writing, but he went in the thesaurus because he had to make the acronym S.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
Scribing, okay.
It's writing. So part of the Life Savers process in the Miracle Morning is, and it's really what you and I talk about, it's about gratitude, a gratitude journal of some kind.
Yeah.
Making sure that you are writing down the high points of your life, what you value, even like some quotes that you want, putting the quotes down, understanding, where you are and where you want to be, and getting back to that gap.
So it's writing down what you're thankful for.
Yes.
Right? I mean, basically being thankful.
And
you don't have to write it down. That's my belief anyway. You can stand there in the morning or in the shower and be thankful for a couple things that are going well.
Well, absolutely. And I like what he says is we tend to focus on the gaps between where we are in life and where we want to be, between what we've accomplished and what we could have or want to accomplish. And the gap between who we are and our idealistic version of the person we believe we should be. The problem is we are constantly gap-focused and negative thinking. If we do write it down, which you did, is you can go back and reflect on everything that you're
yeah.
You've
That's
done
powerful.
that.
I've done
it's
it.
a reflection, so you can do it.
You write a note in your gratitude journal every day for a while, and if you're having a bad day, you can go back and read through it. And after a while, you realize that, holy cow, a lot of good things are going on. Right?
That's the power of the scribing. Yes, exactly. So thank you for joining us for the Miracle Morning. I mean, Pete, wouldn't you say that all we want you to do is just make sure you execute it?
Yep. Start with one, then add one every few weeks.
Or start them all at one time.
Read this book.
Yeah, he suggests doing it all at
Hal
one time.
Elrod,
yes,
right?
Go for it.
This has been Business Talk. Your business, your success. Sponsored by Action Coach Columbus. The opinions expressed were those of the participants and may not be the views of the staff, advertisers, and owners of the station. Advice given was not intended to replace that of your business advisor. For more information about the topics discussed today, call 614-306-7922. 614-306-7922. Tune in next week at this time for more Business Talk. Your business, your success.